So yesterday, Natala told everybody, if you watch this, that about the results she got for her blood work, and everything was normal. And I wanted to give a little bit of hopefully convey a little bit of appreciation for what that means. When we got married, it was a week after our wedding, after we got back from the honeymoon, that Natala was diagnosed with diabetes. And the what we went through was hard. I think hard for people to understand, like how difficult that disease is. Is the kind of thing that I would get an IM from Natala, and it just wouldn't seem right. She'd be like, she normally doesn't have a lot of typos or things, and it would just be all jumbled up. And then I'd say, "What's wrong?" And she'd say, "Well, my sugar's really high." And what people, I think, don't understand about diabetes is when a diabetic's sugar gets high, their brain starts just not functioning the way it ought to. It's almost like she changed personalities, and all of a sudden, here's Natala, and she's just not herself. She's not thinking she's straight. She's getting really upset. She's and she'd be going through this. So I'd call her up. I'd say, Natala, go unlock the front door, because if paramedics had to come, if she blacked out or something like that, if I had to call the paramedics, they're going to need to wait to get in. And this happened a lot. I mean, this was several times a month. I'd say that we would have episodes like this. A lot of times I'd be home, it'd happen. Her sugar would go really high in the evenings, and sometimes I wouldn't. And that's just downright scary. So when you're hearing about diabetes, that's the picture you need to have in your mind. This is I come home and find like chairs knocked over. It's because she blacked out. If you watch TV a lot, you'll see these ads for the new test strips or new whatever, and they make diabetics look all healthy and very happy, and you can live this nice, fulfilling life. And it's a myth. We did have a lot of good times, punctuated by these points where things were really, really difficult, and weeks where her sugar just wouldn't be anything below 300. And if the normal range is like 80 to 120. So that is not something that you want to live with. And people have this idea that you can just the diabetes is just not that big a deal. And but what we're seeing now is that, what I know now is it is a big, put your family through that. You don't want to go through it yourself. And it comes down to just changing some foods. It's taking 3 things out of your diet. Now it's a big 3. Every meal for meat eaters has meat and dairy and eggs and cheese, and so you're getting rid of these things, but you're also giving up the chance to have like this horrible disease, and you don't want it. So I think I wanted to underline what Natala was saying and give people a little bit of clearer picture of what it's like to live with that, and to also even the more advanced things, like when they were talking about taking part of Natala's leg off, that is not something you want to hear said about about one of your relatives, and I just simply didn't want to believe it. I kind of ignored that whole part of it. I just didn't want to believe it, and then the predictions of eyesight getting worse and all that kind of thing. So it's a caution, but there's also a lot of hope, and we've got there is a solution, and it's widespread, and people are going to have to make some changes and avoid this disease. So
what would you tell family members or other spouses that are that maybe have somebody that even doesn't have diabetes yet? Maybe they're on their way to having diabetes. They're obese. They're maybe their healthy, their eating habits are not that great, their exercise habits aren't that great. What would you tell them? How would you tell them to encourage a family member to get on that track? And what would you do for that family member?
Here's the deal. If you know somebody who's on the track for getting diabetes, they have all the symptoms, they're high risk for it, you yourself are going to have to change. If you're a husband and your wife is going through this, or the other way around, you are going to have to go through your cupboards and pull out all those foods. This diabetes is and this is not something that's just going to affect your family member. This disease is going to affect you, so you need to be a part of the solution of it. There's no way around that, and it's hard, but you're also going to be doing a lot of good for your own health. So it's not a bad thing on that front. But you are going to have to get rid of these things. It's an entire family change. It means your kids are not going to have McDonald's again, and that's a good thing.
So for those of you who don't know, Matt, could you just tell everybody about your current, like what you eat and when you made those dietary changes in your life?
I became vegan shortly after Natala went vegan, and partly it was to support her and what she was doing, because like I said, I mean, you don't need to have those foods and around, and then mostly, a big part of it was just my health. I just wanted to feel better, and I wanted to avoid diabetes. I don't know that I'm that far off from it. I don't know that I wasn't that far off from it myself, in the way I was eating and the way I was drinking, and the sodas and alcohol and everything. So,
and really quickly, could you just tell any guys out there who might be questioning if they could ever get off of meat as a guy, like if your diet is satisfying?
Oh, yeah, no, okay. So I thought going vegan would mean I would be eating the worst healthy choice meals from the 80s, and the portions were going to be small, and I wasn't going to be fulfilled, or I didn't think it was going to be tasty, and I'm happy to say it's completely not that is not so. I mean, I'm eating big meals. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling full. Everything, there's as much flavor or more in everything that I'm eating, and I'm getting my protein. I'm getting everything I need. And the only hang up is, you've been bragging about to your guy friends that you eat the biggest steaks. Well, get over it. There are things that are more important in your life than that stuff. This is and the health of your family is more important. What I would say is try and find something that is consistent. For me, I've had my health and wanting to change my health and improve my health is been a consistent fear of mine of getting these diseases, and I found a solution for it. So I've remained consistent to myself in doing this, and I think that's a big fear that guys have is and really I just don't care that I'm not eating meat anymore. I'm doing far more, and I'm far more active than I ever was. So I've got plenty to brag about.